Hey, it's Allison here with Southland Goldens. Welcome to Harper's Elite Training video. We're going to use this video to go over all of the commands that Harper knows. I will go over the hand signals and verbal cues that you'll need to give with each command. It's super important that we keep that training consistent that we've been doing here at Southland Goldens to what you're doing at your home. Harper is doing really good. I do tell people when puppies move from our home to your home, be patient with them. They typically do take a step back in their training for a couple of days just because everything is new to Harper. It's a new place to live, new people are training her. So we want to make sure that we are setting her up for success. We want to make sure we are using the same hand signals, the same verbal cues to make sure that she knows that this is the same training and we're all on the same page. If you guys have any questions after viewing this video, please reach out to me. Let me know if you'd like any specific videos on any of the commands. I'm happy to go over those more in detail. So now we will start on each of the commands that Harper knows. The first command we are going to go over is sit. This is obviously the most basic and easiest command. It's one that Harper knows very well. You will see that we do have a hand signal and verbal cue for sit. It's not one that we always have to do both together just because it is a simple task and one that she knows very well. However, for the first week that she is home with you, like I said, we want to make sure we are setting Harper up for success. Don't want you guys to get frustrated with training. Don't want her to get frustrated with training. So I do want you to do both together. She's at the point here in our training facilities where we can just do one or the other and she will sit. But for that first week, what I want you to do is you're going to take your right hand, palm out, and have it out by your right thigh. You're then going to raise it up towards your shoulder. So while you have your right hand by your right thigh, and as you raise it up to your shoulder, you're going to say, Harper, sit. I will show that here in the next video clip. You'll also see that I am using a clicker. So I'm going to send one of the clickers home with Harper. You'll see I raise up in my hand. The only reason I'm raising up to show you the click is just because you're not going to be able to hear it on the video. So as soon as her bottom hits the ground, when I say sit, I'm then going to click. And what that does is that marks the behavior. You're going to see that throughout all of these videos, and it's just easy. You can use the clicker or you can say yes. In the beginning, I do want you guys to use the clicker just because that's just an easier way for her to know, hey, I've completed the task that you have asked. So as soon as I say Harper sit, when her bottom hits the ground, I'm going to click. And after I click, I then can reach in my treat bag and get a couple pieces of her kibble out to give her. So you don't have to immediately give her the reward. She knows that the click means I've done what I'm supposed to and a reward will follow soon. However, anytime that we do click, we do need to always follow with the reward. So that's going to make more sense here in the next video clip as you're actually able to see me working with Harper. Okay, here you see I have called Harper over. That is my right hand by my right thigh, raising it up, and I said Harper sit. You'll see right here I'm also going to continue to click because I'm teaching Harper to stay seated until I release her. So that right there is a click and reward. You'll see I tap my right thigh and I say okay. That just means Harper's released to do whatever she wants to do. She can run around, explore, do whatever. Now for sit, right hand by right thigh, raise up, click, and reward. Again, I'm continuing to click because I want her to stay seated. And you'll see right here, a click, reward, and I will release her by saying okay and tapping the side of my leg. Just means you're free, be a puppy dog, run around, do what you want. Now here again for sit, we'll have my right hand by my right thigh, palm out, and I'm going to raise it up as I say Harper sit. As soon as she sits, I will click and reward. Okay, I want to do a quick recap on sit. I know this is a very easy task and probably not one that needs a lot of explaining. You will see in the video, like I said, for sit, it is your right hand will be down by your right thigh, palm out, and you will raise it up towards your shoulder as you say Harper sit. As soon as her bottom hits the ground, you're going to click, reach in your treat bag. You're going to give her about 2 or 3 pieces of her kibble. Now she is to stay seated until she is released. So what you will do is as she's sitting there in the beginning, just wait, 4 or 5 seconds, click again and reward. With us, she can wait longer than that, but I want to set her up for success this first week when she comes home to you. So have her sit. As soon as she stays seated, about 4 or 5 seconds, click, reach back in your treat bag, reward her. Wait a few more seconds, click, reach back in your treat bag, reward her. And as soon as you want to release her, you're just going to tap the side of your leg and say, okay, and that is when Harper is released. Our next command is down. Now this feeds off of sit because what we are going to do is we're always going to ask Harper to sit and then down. So the same hand signal and verbal cue for sit, and then we will turn our hand over and we will lower our palm to the ground and say Harper down. As soon as she lays all the way down, belly on the ground, we will click and reward. Down is the same as sit, so I want Harper to stay in the down position until she is released. What we are doing is we are teaching Harper that you do not get up from any commands or anything until we release you. So you will see that I will do just like I did with sit. I will continue to mark that behavior with my clicker, that she is staying in the down position. Each time I mark the behavior with the clicker, I will reach in my bag and reward her. So this is down. Okay, here I am with Harper. There's our sit command, and right here I say Harper down. As soon as she lays all the way down, I'm going to click and reward. And again, I want her to stay in this position, so I will mark the behavior right there and follow with a reward. And again, I'm going to mark this behavior and follow with a reward. Right here, I will tap on my side and say, okay, same as with sit. She's free to run around, do what she would like. There's our sit and down. As I'm lowering my hand to the ground, just a second ago when you saw me flip my hand over, I'm saying Harper down. Again, I'm marking the behavior. Not having to say anything to her, so as long as she stays in the down position, I'll continue to mark it and reward her. So right here you'll see we've got Harper sit when I raise my hand up, and then I flip my palm over, and that's when I say Harper down. As soon as she lays down, I'm going to mark that behavior and reward her. She's to stay there, not having to give her any other verbal cues or anything. She just knows to stay there patiently and wait. And I'm marking the behavior to remind her, hey, you're doing what I'm asking, and there will be a reward. So right there I've said okay, and I've released Harper. This is Harper sit, Harper down. Mark the behavior. Funny thing about Harper is she actually likes to lay on my feet. I guess she wants me to stay right there with her. But she's doing really good. She's very focused right there. So I'm marking the behavior and rewarding her. And one more time, I'm going to bring her over. Harper sit, Harper down. Mark the behavior, reach in the treat bag, and reward her. For our recap on down, the most important thing I want to go over is to make sure that we always tell Harper to sit and then tell her Harper down. So when I ask Harper to sit, I'm going to take my right hand like we previously talked about, put it by my right thigh, raise it up, say Harper sit. As soon as she sits, I'm then going to turn my hand over facing the ground and lower it down as I say Harper down. Now, this is all going to flow as one command. So when you tell her to sit, you don't have to mark that behavior. You're going to tell her Harper sit and then Harper down. As soon as she lays down, you're going to mark that behavior and reward her. Now we're working on teaching Harper patience. So again, like we did with sit, we want to continue to mark that behavior just to remind her, I want you to stay in the down position until you're released. Now this first week that she comes home, I want to mark pretty quick just so she gets used to you guys. So maybe like we did with sit, we're going to wait 4 or 5 seconds, mark it, and then release her. However, we want to build that time frame up. So we want to make sure that, after about a week goes by and Harper is used to working with you, she's used to her new surroundings and you as a trainer, we're going to tell her Harper sit, Harper down, immediately mark and reward, and then extend that time we wait. So maybe wait 10, 15 seconds and then mark it and reward it. If you see that she's getting up or kind of getting impatient, then we're going to shorten the time frame, because remember, she is still a puppy. Her attention span is still not super long. So we want to make sure that we are setting her up for success, and we're going to continue to build that time up, but we need to patiently build it up. If you have any questions about that, just let me know and I'm happy to walk you through it. We're going to have one video that goes over the commands stay and here. First, I'm going to talk about stay. The way we tell Harper to stay is we hold our hand up like a stop sign and I say, Harper, stay. What I like to do is I don't always want to tell a dog to stay and then immediately go somewhere and call them over to me. I want to teach a dog to stay until I give the specific command of Harper here. So you'll see in the video, there are some times that I will tell her to stay. I will hold my hand up like a stop sign. I will say, Harper, stay. And I will walk around and I will go back to her to reward her and release her. And then there will be times where I tell her, Harper, stay. And I will go and I will actually lower my hand and call her to come to me. Now, when I call Harper to come here, what I do is I take my right hand, lower it palm out by my right thigh, and I say, Harper, here. As soon as her nose touches my hand, I will click to mark the behavior and give her a reward. Harper knows when I call her, she is to come all the way to me. So we train a dog to come all the way to us. Their nose has to touch our hand before we mark that behavior and they get the reward. We do this, like I've said in previous videos that I've sent you, is in case there's ever an emergency and we want that dog to come all the way to us, so that if we need to grab their collar or put a leash on them or even pick them up, any kind of situation that we need a dog to come all the way to us, we want to trust that when we call them to us and we say, Harper, here, she's going to come all the way. Her nose is going to touch our hand, and therefore if we need to reach around and grab her collar, she is right there. Now, as soon as she comes to us, when I say Harper, here, and her nose touches my hand, Harper knows that she is immediately to sit. So you will see that in this next video. You're also going to see how I kind of set you guys up for success with Harper stay. I'm going to do a short clip where I want you guys to practice this in the beginning, where I tell Harper to stay. I take 3 or 4 steps back and immediately go back to her. So these are baby steps for Harper. It's something that she's not used to doing with us anymore. It's kind of how we train stay. But what I want her to do is to gain that trust with you and learn you as a trainer on the short distance stay. So I'll go over that here in a minute. It'll make a lot more sense. But what you'll do there is you'll tell her, Harper, stay, take 4 or 5 steps back, go right back to her, reward her, tell her to stay again, and then take a couple more steps back. So here's the video for stay and here. For this first time, you're going to see I ask Harper to sit. I immediately turn my hand over like a stop sign, and right here I am saying, Harper, stay. I'm going to hold my hand up like a stop sign. I'm going to go back, click, and reward her. So that's a time where I go back to release her. Tap the side of my leg and say, okay. Now this next time I'm going to tell Harper to sit. Right here is Harper, stay. It doesn't matter if she sits or lays down as long as she stays. Now this is where I'm going to take my right hand, turn it over by my right thigh. That's where I say, Harper, here. You'll see her nose touches my hand and she immediately sits. As soon as she sits down, I'm going to click and mark that behavior. Right here I've told Harper, okay. She is free to do what she wants. Again, we're always going to make sure we put Harper in the sit position. Sit. And then I'm going to tell her to stay. I'm going to walk away. You don't have to hold your hand up like a stop sign the whole time. In the beginning, just the first couple of days I would. And right here, you're going to see that I'm going to go back to her to release her. This is where I talked about I don't want to always have a dog that's just listening for any verbal cue to break. I want her to know either I'm going to say here or I'm going to go back and release her. I went back that time, told her to stay, and I'm going to turn my hand over and call her to me. So right hand down by my right side, Harper here. As soon as her nose touches, that is when I click and reward. Now this next part, you're going to see I'm going to put Harper on the place board. We're going to go over that command in just a minute, but I'm going to put her on her place board. I'm going to tell her to stay. I'm going to hold my hand up like a stop sign. Harper, stay, until I turn my hand over and call her to me. And that is where I say Harper, here. Her nose touches, she sits, I click, and reward. Okay, this next part is where I was talking about a minute ago, where I'm going to put Harper on her place board, and this is where I want you guys to take the baby steps. You're going to see she actually makes a mistake here. I'll go over that in just a minute, but I put her on the place, and I'm going to tell her to stay, and I'm going to take just a couple of steps back. Harper, stay, go back, click, and reward. Just want you guys to do that just in the beginning till she gets used to you. Told her to stay, a couple of more steps back, and straight back to her to reward her. Now this is where Harper actually makes a mistake. She gets up, so I put her back, tell her to stay, and carry on with my training. So I'm going to turn my hand over, say Harper, here. As soon as her nose touches, I click and reward. For our recap on stay and here, just want to make sure that we are all on the same page with the verbal cues and hand signals. So anytime I tell Harper to stay, I'm always going to say Harper, sit, immediately turn my hand over like a stop sign, followed by Harper, stay. So you do not have to reward the sit because it's just like as we were doing with down, it's all one command. So Harper, sit, immediately turn your hand over like a stop sign and say Harper, stay. You'll see, like I did at the very end, I want you to take those baby steps just for a couple days, nothing too long, because she knows how to stay and we can go long distance, but just want to set her up for success, make sure we're all on the same page, and she understands that she has to listen to you just like she does our trainers. So hand over like a stop sign, Harper, stay. You're going to take just a couple steps back, go right back to her, and reward her. Now do not forget that anytime you release Harper from anything, tap your right leg, say okay, and that just lets Harper know, hey, I'm free to run around, do whatever I want. Now, when we tell Harper here, so we're going to tell her Harper, sit, Harper, stay, hold our hand up like a stop sign, we're going to walk away, and to call Harper to us, we're going to take that right hand, lower it by our right thigh, palm out, and we're going to say Harper, here. As soon as her nose touches your hand and she sits, that is when you will click to mark the behavior and reward her. Now I know you're probably asking, well, what if I don't have her in the sit position or down or on her place? Can I still call her to me? Yes, it's the exact same. So if Harper is running around the house or yard or doing something, to call her over to you, it's the same command. You're going to take your right hand, palm out by your right thigh, and say Harper, here. Now do not forget she's still a puppy. So if you're in a wide open area, several acres, and you're trying to call Harper here, more than likely you're not going to get her to come to you. As she gets older and that attention span gets a little bit longer, that's what she'll be able to do at that point. But right now, don't expect, to be able to take Harper to a park and she's out playing with a lot of dogs and you're able to call Harper over and her come right to you. That's not how that works. So it's something that we're going to have to continue to build on as she gets older. But if you're in your house or in your fenced-in yard and you turn your hand over, say Harper, here. As soon as she comes to you, her nose will touch your hand and she will sit, and that's when you mark that behavior. So she's doing really good. In closed spaces, I guess is the way I could word that. If you're in her yard or home, she will come to you. So right hand over, the command is Harper, here. As soon as her nose touches you, that is when she sits. You mark your behavior and reach in your treat bag and give her a few pieces of kibble. Our next commands are going to be place and crate. For place, we use the dog bed. It's similar to a little cot, and that's what we consider place. Place can be anything. Place can be a bed. Place can be a towel. However, I will say that it is better for a puppy if it is something that is elevated off the ground. So for training purposes, we use the dog cot, and that is what we call place. You will see in the next video, it's pretty easy. We tell Harper place. What I will do is I will walk over and point to the place, and Harper is to get on the place. As soon as all 4 paws are on, I will click to mark the behavior and I will reward her. Now, she is to stay on the placeboard until she is released. She can walk around, she can sit, she can lay, whichever she pleases. However, she cannot get off the placeboard until I release her or call her over for another command. So you will see that in this next video. The same thing for crate. The way crate works is I will point at the crate. I will say Harper crate. Harper is to enter the crate and to stay in the crate until I release her. Now the crate we're using for this video is not the crate that Harper actually trains in. We're just using this crate just to show you for video purposes that she will go in the crate. She will stay in the crate until she is released. I know you guys probably have the wire crate that we recommended. What I recommend you do is put the divider up that gives her just enough space to be able to stand up, turn around, and lay back down. Now at nighttime, we do have crate covers, or you can lay a blanket over your crate. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit more enclosed, and typically they like that better. So the next thing we're going to go over is place and crate. Here I am going to tell Harper place. What I'm going to do is walk over towards the placeboard, say Harper place. As soon as all 4 paws are on the placeboard, I'm going to mark and reward her. I actually drop a piece of kibble there, so that's why I had to bend over, but I'm going to tap the side of my leg to release Harper. So the main thing is to make sure that you walk over and point, and you're going to give the command of Harper place. Mark the behavior. Once all 4 paws are on the placeboard, that is when you'll mark the behavior and reward her. She is to stay there until she is released, which you will see. I tap the side of my leg and I say, okay. And that just means Harper's free to do whatever she would like. Next, we're going to go to Harper crate. Same thing. I'm going to point at the crate, say Harper crate. As soon as all 4 paws are in the crate, I'm going to click the clicker to mark the behavior, reach in and give her a few pieces of kibble. Now right there, I'm doing kind of similar how we did with sit and down. I'm going to continue to mark just to remind her, hey, this is a behavior that I like, that you're staying in your crate until you're released. I close the door just to show, hey, this is how we would do it at night, and I'm going to open it up. Now Harper's so nice, she closed the door back for me. She's a funny pup. So next we're going to go back to Harper place. Same thing, pretty self-explanatory. We're going to say Harper place. As soon as all 4 paws are on, I'm going to mark it and reward her. She's to stay there until she is released. Tap of my leg when I say okay, and that means you're free to do whatever you would like. Now we're going to go back to crate. The funny thing is that when Harper left the crate last time, she closed the door. So here you get to see Harper. She's so smart, she actually tries to open the door. However, she needs a little help. So there we go. Harper crate, and I'm going to mark that behavior and reward her. Again, she is to stay in that crate until I've released her, which you will see right here. I'm just going to tap the side of my leg, and I'm going to say okay. Actually, I went back. Sorry about that. Went back, rewarded her to mark that behavior. Then I'm going to tap the side of my leg to say okay, and that releases Harper to do whatever she would like. Go over it a couple more times. They're pretty easy. You just want to make sure that you always walk over and point to the command or the place that you would like for her to go. So right here, I'm saying Harper place. Once all 4 paws get on the place board, mark and reward. Now you'll see she makes a mistake right there. She actually gets up. So I make her go back Harper. It's actually because I dropped a piece of kibble, but Harper place. I'm going to mark that behavior and going to have her stay there until she's released. So if she does take a paw off the place board, do make sure that she gets back on there because all 4 paws must be on. She likes to test me a little bit and she'll try to put 1 paw barely off, but she's learning that that's not acceptable. Now for here, we've said Harper crate. She goes in her crate. She's excellent at going in the crate. Once all 4 paws are in, I'm going to mark that behavior and reward her. For our recap on place and crate, it's fairly simple in the fact that anytime we ask Harper to go to either one, what we're going to do is we're going to walk over to our place board or bed, and we're going to point and we're going to say Harper place. Again, once all 4 paws are on the place bed or board, then you're going to mark that behavior with your clicker and reach in your treat bag and reward her. She is to stay there until you release her, which is to tap the side of your leg and say, okay. That again means Harper's free to run around, do whatever she would want. The same thing with crate. We're going to leave our crate door open and we're going to say, Harper, crate. We're going to walk over to the crate, point at the crate. As soon as all 4 paws are in the crate, you're going to use your clicker to mark that behavior and reward her. Now, Harper is very good about getting in her crate. If for some reason she gets to your home and she's not comfortable going in the crate, this is not uncommon just because it is a new setting for her. So, a little trick you can do to cheat just for a day or two, nothing longer than that, is to take a few pieces of kibble, toss it in the back of the crate, say Harper crate. As soon as she goes in there to get the kibble, you're going to again mark that behavior and reward her. So if you do have to use the cheat system a little bit just to get her in the crate, make sure you throw the kibble in, but also reward her as soon as she puts all 4 paws in that crate. I do not see this being a problem with Harper just because she is very good at getting in her crate. You saw in the video, she actually will try to even open her crate door to let herself in the crate. So we're going to walk over, going to say Harper crate. As soon as all 4 paws are in the crate, we're going to mark and reward that behavior. Another thing I will say that helps transition from our home to your home is to keep your place board and your crate in the same spot. So that way, every time you give her the command of Harper place or Harper crate, she knows where they are. So if you're moving the place board from this room to that room, it does get kind of confusing for the puppy. So if you can, try to keep those consistent and keep them in the same spot in your home. I want to go over a few more things about Harper as we just covered the commands sit, down, place, crate, stay, and here. She's also doing really well with her loose leash walking. So what we do is we have trained Harper to walk on our left side in the heel position, but it's not technically a heel. She's still kind of young for that. So what we do is we keep her on our left side. She's not allowed to get too far out in front or to lag too far behind. If she begins to get too far out in front, we will stop and wait for Harper to come back to us, to our left side. That teaches her not to pull. We don't want the dog that is dragging us around the park. Couple of things I want to go over about Harper when she comes home. I do tell people, be patient. This is all new for her. She will take a few steps back in her training, a few steps back in her potty training. So, as far as potty training goes, do not be afraid to use your crate in the beginning. If you are going out to do something, place Harper in the crate. This is going to teach her, like, hey, I can't just freely go to the bathroom where I want. She's got to learn at your home where her potty spot is. So anytime that Harper comes out of the crate, you're going to immediately take her to the place that you want her to go to the bathroom. You're going to say, Harper, go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. As soon as she goes potty, you can either say yes and reward her with lots of snuggles, hugs, pets, all those fun things for attention, or you can have your treat bag with you. When she goes to the bathroom, you can mark that behavior with the click and reward her with food. Either one will work. So, another thing about potty training, do not let Harper come in and have free run of the house. It's going to be very confusing for her to learn where she is supposed to go to the bathroom at your home. So, whether we have her in a playpen or a mudroom or a laundry room or something that is a smaller area until she comprehends, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go to the bathroom here. So when she's home and you're out playing with her, that's fine. Have her out, let her run around, let her play. That's perfectly fine. But if you're going to sit down and have dinner or watch a show and your whole attention is not on Harper, do place her in a smaller area and then let her out to go to the bathroom. Couple of other things I want to go over. So Harper is very food motivated. So if you're having any problems with her training or getting used to you training her, what I want you to do is to use her meal time for training. So you can either in the morning or in the evening take one of those meals before you feed her and train with that. So what you'll do is you'll put 1.5 cups of food in your training bag, go over a couple of commands, and then use that for training. As soon as you finish with training, you can the rest that's in your training bag, you can then give her as a meal. So that way, if you're having any problems with her, picking up on your training or anything like that, you just want to make sure you're doing it when she is super eager to eat. This is only in the beginning. This is just for that transition from our home to your home. Use those meal times as training. I get asked all the time, How often should I train? So in the beginning, short training sessions are best. So I want you to have as many, 5-minute training sessions as you can. If you can do 4, 5, 6 a day, that's great. And then we're going to continue to build on that as far as the length of those training sessions goes and the amount of training sessions that you are doing. So when I say in the beginning, I'm talking about the first week or two, just short sessions where she's got your attention and she's doing what you want, because like I said, we want to have her set up for success. If you have any questions about that, let me know and I'm happy to answer them. Harper's doing great. She's a super sweet girl. She loves to get out and play. She also loves to cuddle. So I don't see you having any issues with her picking up on wanting to please you, because that is just how Harper is. Thank you again for choosing Southland Goldens. If you guys have any questions once she gets home, or even prior to her going home, if you want any additional video clips, let me know and I am happy to send them. Talk with you soon.